Pistachios! You know, that was scary, right? You know what's even scarier? Your browsing history. You know what's even scarier? Leland Coyle, the prime asset in the hit video game series Outlast Trials. Before starting the video, I've got to apologize. My green screen's kind of acting up. So you're gonna see like my bed if I like do this maybe? Yeah, you're gonna see my bed in the background. Hey, listen, I don't own a green screen, but if you want me to own a green screen, better hit that fucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? Okay, let's get into the video. So I'm gonna overanalyze Leland Coyle, and the first thing that pops into mind is he is a prime asset in the Outlast Trials, which means he's been selected by Murkoff to like do their like disgusting things in the trials, and so something that's immediately notable with Leland Coyle is he stands out compared to the other assets, as in he's more lawful, primarily uses the law and being lawful as an excuse to like do his twisted, disgusting, you know, things that he does to the players. But why is that though? Like, why? So today we're gonna be doing a thesis on Leland Coyle and why he's not just a sadist, but he's a product of institutional violence. Yeah, my words. Like, of course. And maybe the most surprising part of all, he may be the least crazy prime asset in Outlast Trials. Yeah, I know, I said it. So the first time you're actually gonna meet the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Leland Coyle, is during the trial Kill the Snitch. You're probably gonna meet him in, like, when you press the big red button inside of the room where you can hear him, like, for a snitch. Or, I shouldn't say that word because it's... YouTube won't like me. You can hear him, like, doing stuff with the snitch. And when you press the button, you can actually see him. He goes out and he's like, go back in your cell. And then he smacks the fucking... He smacks the bars because he's angry because you interrupted him and stuff. I actually don't know why he's mad. I actually never listened to what he said. One thing that's immediately notable with Leland Coyle is that he doesn't act like the most prime assets. Most prime assets, when they see you, they'll just bolt at you and like try to like, you know, just make your day a very bad one and hopefully make you hate your life. I hate my life. But the thing with Leland Coyle is he won't actually like straight up run at you. He will potty mouth you a little bit about like the law and everything like that. And then he'll just kind of stare at you when he sees you, like very dominantly. You know, he's kind of like this, you know, hunchback, just like looking at you. And then maybe if he feels like he is gonna chase you, I'm not making this up. You can try it yourself. He won't immediately chase you if you just stand in front of him. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why, and I'm gonna tell you in this video. One thing that's also pretty notable with Leland Coyle is he doesn't really... He's kind of bipolar in a way that some of his voice lines are like really like calm and like collected, and he'll say stuff to you like, "Oh, you call me bitch, oh you call me bitch and pistachios." And then his other voice lines are like extremely like on the other end of the spectrum in terms of anger, and he'll actually like be really mad at you, insult you in a way that is like not really that personal. That's also an interesting thing about Leland Coyle that I'll tell you about later. Yeah, there's like a really big contrast between some of his voice lines where he's like really calm and like collected, and then his other voice lines which tell you immediately that you're gonna have a bad day. And part of his like character in the whole game is also you don't feel like you're being chased by a monster, but more like you're being chased by the law, because that's the only thing he preaches about. He doesn't preach about anything else. You barely even hear anything personal about him. He just wants to lay down the law on you because he thinks you're some kind of junkie. Like a disgusting man, quite honestly. Which, judging by the Discord, I mean, he's not completely wrong. This joke is gonna go over really well. His role in the Outlast trial, he's kind of shaped by hierarchy, as in he used to be an ex-cop, which liked to abuse his power a little bit. He's fueled by control, and Murkoff kind of gives him that control by like allowing him to do stuff like this in the trials in the first place, and we'll get to why later. And he's unable to like define himself as a character other than like just pure like authority. Like that's basically the only like the big overarching character of Coyle, which is interesting, and I'll talk about it later. His weapon of choice is a baton. This one, a shock weapon that is interestingly not a very violent weapon. It's a weapon that the police would give it to you, except he made some modifications on it, which also fortifies the idea that he just wants to lay down the law, and he's not taking that very personally. He's just really like sick in the head and thinks he's some kind of authority figure, and that goes very deep. That goes very deep. He's also very insecure. You wouldn't think he's insecure, but I'm gonna tell you later why he's quite insecure as a character and the overarching design of our boy Pistachio Eater Leland Coyle. My hand just disappeared by the green screen. It's okay. It's a kind of horror that is not like grotesque, as in he's not really. He's kind of disfigured, but not like very bloody and like disgusting. Like kind of like very unlike our favorite baby and our favorite mother. They both have very grotesque characteristics, where Coyle is just more like it's just a chill guy. I mean, he does have a gash on his face because of an infection that the developers never elaborated on, but I'm sure we'll find out, you know, at some point later in the story. Or maybe I'm just dumb and I didn't connect links. Maybe it's the gas, maybe it's the gas. His posture is not like, he's not very confident, you know, he's more like yeah, I'm gonna lay down the law. I'm Leland Coyle. And then when he walks, it's not like, so you know, he doesn't walk like this. He walks like this, like, which kind of also, you know, he makes himself small. He's kind of insecure. He has no personality other than being a cop and laying down the law. Like, he just does it for the love of the game. Like, he, you know, he's not. One aspect of him that also confirms that he's very insecure is, like I said before, his voice lines. Sometimes he'll be really calm and collected, and other times he'll go in completely crazy outbursts, insulting not even the player like himself, except when he says junkie and stuff like that. But he'll more insult like the system and how the system doesn't do justice, and he wants to lay down the justice. Like, he takes it personally. He hides his past and like who he is under the pretense of the law, and that he has to like enact justice on everyone just because he's very insecure about his past. That's also why he killed his 3 wives. He speaks at the players, he doesn't speak to the players. Like I said, he doesn't insult them personally. And that means he's trying not to humanize the players or the agents that he actually goes after and kills. He doesn't want to humanize them because he'll feel even worse afterwards. That's a thing that most people tend to forget when they talk about Coyle. He doesn't try to humanize them. He sees them more as like the lawbreakers, the breakers of justice, and he needs to do something about it. Most of the times when he's gonna chase you, he also says like stuff that he's gonna do to you very loudly. I think that's also indicative of being like a bear almost, you know. He's trying to like act very big so that people actually run away so that he doesn't have to hurt them themselves, which is kind of against the whole ideology of Leland Coyle. And that circles all the way back around to him not being that confident and very insecure. He's trying to make himself big and strong and that, so he doesn't really get jumped on by the players. Well, we never actually get the jump on him, but I'm talking about pure like philosophy here. He's trying to make himself big and strong and loud so that the players kind of like don't you know hurt him, because he's very insecure. Can we count how many times I say insecure? Like, I'm spamming this word. And now we come to the part of the video where I talk about the lore that's given in-game about him, just very surface level. It's mostly like 2 pages of documents, which I will read for you guys for your entertainment. So Murkoff did a little bit of investigating with our boy Leland Coyle, and they came to this conclusion right here, which there's anecdotal evidence of abuse of animals and him being essayed as a little guy, which broke him. He couldn't really do anything with his life, so he decided to join the military, of course, because that's what everyone does that, you know, yeah. Fortunately, him being in the military didn't really amount to anything, because in his teenage years, shortly after joining the military, he actually joined the KKK. Leland Coyle, Pistachio Man. After his failed career in the military and being a Ku Klux Klan member, he actually very early on gets married at age 19, and actually not too much later his wife mysteriously dies by falling down the stairs, and to avoid investigation by the FBI he actually joins the Marines. Hey, a free pass again, look at that, Leland Coyle, my boy. So while in the Marines he gets 3 confirmed kills, 2 of them being suspicious American kills. So friendly fire to that guy. What an ass. What an ass. Not very patriotic of you, dude. After his deployment, he goes back to the KKK, because back in the day, the KKK wasn't so bad because everyone was racist. And that naturally evolved into him joining the police. Wow, the police. Because when you look up documents of back in the day, that's actually quite, you know, accurate to what would happen in real life. It's just, we hate people from other skin colors, and we're gonna arrest them and jail them. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And the second document is kind of where you kind of, you know, connect the dots, 2 + 2 is 4 kind of thing, where Murkoff really hits the nail on the head with him being a psycho. He seems to consider himself vital to history and of great interest to posterity, which is super ironic considering the thing he has done before. Like, allegedly, like, pushing his wife down the stairs or something. Mysteriously. Very mysterious. He's a very, very effective policeman. I wonder why. And he made some enormous profit from exploitation of prison labor, extortion, and civil forfeiture. I don't know what that word is. I'm just reading the document. He got multiple commendations from that, which, you know, the state really seemed to, like, enable his behavior, which is super strange. Well, now that I think about it, it's not that strange. It was in the 60s, after all. So Coyle marries another woman, poor little soul, and extorts the family of that woman for a lot of money, and they mysteriously die later in an electrical fire. Sorry, that was really hard to say. I'm not a native English speaker. Since he was such a good policeman, and, you know, the police was kind of trying to cover his ass, they mysteriously labeled it as an accidental death to the whole family, which is super weird, because, you know, considering everything that was before, I guess they didn't do their investigation properly or something. That's really sad. That's actually really sad. So yeah, needless to say, his wife also died in that electrical fire, and she was found dead of natural causes when she was found, like, on some random street a few blocks from where the fire occurred. Pretty strange stuff, I gotta say. I mean, if you want to do that nowadays, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you could, actually. So, he gets promoted. The guy gets actually promoted, which you can see on his police vest. He's got 3 stripes, which means a sergeant, I think? A pretty high-ranking rank in the police force. Shortly after that, he remarries, and the wife mysteriously dies by 2 headshots to the wound, which is labeled by the cops as a... Yeah. If I ever decide to cause my own demise, I think I will also shoot myself about 5 times in the head, because that's obviously realistic and doable, and totally not a cover-up by the state. And shortly after, her whole family dies, and they were all, go figure. Wait! I gotta tell you something. Now, this video has been all fun and games and everything like that, but I would like to remind you guys that if you're ever in a bad spot in your life where you think everything is hopeless and you have very bad thoughts, I want you guys to know that every feeling is temporary, and temporary feelings do not deserve permanent solutions. There's always someone out there to listen to you. If you think that you are super lonely and no one is willing to listen to you, you are very, very wrong. You are just gaslighting yourself, and I'm telling you, your life will get better. It will get better. Set yourself an objective, and don't worry about anyone else's opinion on you, because at the end of the day, people will always find reasons to shit on you, and that should not be a catalyst for you having bad thoughts. So please, take care of yourself. Reach out to people, and please talk about your problems. Do not let them fester inside of your head. People care, people love you, and even though you might think that this is the end of the world, trust me, it is not. So please, please, please take care of yourself, and remember that I love you, and I'm sure, like, a lot of people love you. So please, take care of yourself, and yeah. Alright, back to the video. During Murkoff's surveillance of Leland Coyle, he was observed, well, nearing the end before he actually got taken in by Murkoff. He actually was observed in the fields, which you can see in the comics right here. He was actually observed in the fields looking at lightning and most likely getting a hard-on. That doesn't surprise me if you see his actual state in-game and his voice lines where he talks about being turned on and, you know, the whole, like, zapping his pistachio in one of the loading screens in the shuttles. As a last note in the document, it says that he's extremely charismatic and extraordinarily popular among the other police officers. Most likely that's why Murkoff took him in without any other, you know, thoughts behind it. They just took him in and were like, yo, this man's charismatic, and he's he sounds like my favorite Austrian painter, so we'll just hey, maybe you can do our bidding inside of the trials. Maybe he would like it. Yep, why not? By the way, this circles back again about him being insecure about a lot of stuff. Every time he seems to find love, he just you know, murders them. Insecurity, woo, 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 we all have them. A detail that's not really you know, talked about inside of the documents is he actually grew up in the period of the Great Depression, which is probably very important, and a detail that a lot of people seem to miss or not really talk about, which kind of also could explain his weird behaviors and sadistic behaviors towards animals and other things, and also could explain his insecurity a little more. Fear of losing control, the fear of, you know, not really having anyone by his side, which makes him cling extremely hard to his wife that he had. And whenever something went wrong, he's a psycho. He kills them. It's important to note that before he actually became a prime asset, he was already exercising the abuse of power in very extreme ways. And that is probably why Murkoff selected him specifically, because they were looking for exactly that. They were looking for someone that was really, really messed up in the head and wanted to get the job done whatever, you know, in whatever means that they could. And obviously, in Murkoff's eyes, being violent and really charismatic means, you know, being more efficient. So naturally, they chose him. Murkoff has a really important role in the creating of the character Leland Coyle, because they didn't actually create the monster that is Leland Coyle. They took him and enhanced him. They built upon it. They refined him in the monster that he is today. And that's a running theme you're gonna see with all other prime assets that I'm gonna be talking about later in the series. They don't create the monsters. They take people that already are broken and messed up and they refine it. They make it even worse and they kind of confirm their delusions. They don't actually encourage Leland Coyle to do everything that he does. They condition him to do it in a way that they don't really tell him to do everything, but they reward him after, you know, doing all these things. Which I personally believe, I haven't written this in the script or anything, but I personally believe that's a big reason why he started forming like thoughts of like doubt and insecurities, even more so in the trials than his life before. He does it, but he's not sure why. I think he actually is starting to like doubt the effectiveness of what he's doing and why he's doing it in the first place. That's just my 2 cents about it. I don't know. I'm overanalyzing. I'm autistic, okay? Leave me alone. And everything that I just mentioned in the last 30 seconds is really important because Murkoff doesn't use him as a weapon. They use his legitimacy as a weapon. They don't, like I said before in my previous lore video, they don't use brute force as a weapon. They use the people as a weapon. They use people's mentality, how they are as a weapon. And Leland Coyle is the perfect example of that because they will not force him to do it. They will condition him to do it. Everything has to come out of himself. Damn, this game has really amazing, deep lore. Holy fuck. Really makes you think about everything, doesn't it? Holy moly. There's also a voice line which I'm gonna try to look for. I didn't find it in my research doing this video, but there's a grunt actually talking about how Murkoff makes Leland worse by the day, just by conditioning him and reinforcing the belief that he's actually doing good by doing all these things. I couldn't find it, but I'm gonna try to find it here, and if it's here, you're gonna hear it right now.
Eastern keeps making Coyle worse, bit by bit. I don't want to mean this every day.
So there you go, that was the voice line. That kind of also reinforces everything I just said. Coyle's personal philosophy. He is extremely black and white. More white than black because he's actually a raging racist. Something that really hits the nail on the head. If you were doubting that Leland Coyle was insecure, there's actually a trial where you need to switch the training film. It's literally called Switch the Training Film. And if you take a look at the film, once you're done, once the game tells you to run outside of the trial, if you actually take a second to look at the training film, which is this one, you can see Coyle being literally a little baby, having a breakdown and being like, why? Oh my god, what am I doing? Why? Coyle repeatedly over-explains himself. He repeatedly says the same thing, repeatedly screams his ideology whenever he has one of these outbursts that I talked about earlier, about communism, about junkies, about people that did him wrong. He really overgeneralizes, and that's actually like a self-soothing action for him to justify his punishments and the stuff that is really messed up, because at the end of the day, he doesn't want to do it. He's conditioned to do it. And that's not being confident, let's make that very clear. That's not being confident. That's someone that is afraid that their authority won't stick. Or in other words, insecurities. Obedience good, disobedience not good. Coyle is dangerous, not because he enjoys power, but because he cannot function without it. Because his life has been like a big shithole, big stinking poop hole since, you know, basically as early as we can, you know, find out in the game. He justifies every single horrific action that he commits with some kind of moral high ground, which is also, I think, a big reason why he decided to join the Marines and the police force later. He knows he's crazy inside of his head, like he fully knows that, but he kind of gaslights himself into thinking it's justified by being justice, being a moral high ground, like I just said. And here's some voice lines, you know, characterizing that, and I will actually vanish for that. So hey, enjoy the voice line. I'll be right back.
Reds and papists and coloreds and union goons and ornamentals, and I don't know what country this is anymore. Y'all are all equal under the law.
There we go. Funnily enough, he doesn't see his sadism as sadism. He sees it as more like a duty. A duty. Like I said, he's a police officer. He needs the moral high ground. It's his duty to punish everyone. Now, it doesn't need to be in atrocious ways, but hey, it just happens to be his way of dealing with things, right? Because ever since he was a child, he did that to animals and later to his wives. He uses his violence more as a demonstration and less like an impulse. Coyle is not inherently scary because of all the tropes in horror like the other 2 prime assets, 3 prime assets actually, 4 prime assets, never mind, sorry, I was wrong. Not because of that, but he's scary because you can actually see yourself in his weaknesses. He's human. That makes his insecurities and like the fact that he needs to, you know, self-confirm everything and soothe himself and everything, that makes him human, and that makes him scary. Really makes you think about the whole society and psychology in general, and that also kind of, it humanizes him, ironically, because he doesn't humanize his victims. You understand him, but you cannot excuse his actions. He has been wronged in the past, and that shaped him who he is, and you understand why he's so violent and sanctimonial about everything, and he's like so boxing about what he finds wrong and everything like that. You understand him, but you can't defend it, because it's just way too extreme, and it's his way of coping with everything. Here's some more voice lines.
Someday, they catch me, and they'll do with me every filthy and perverse thing their fevered native.
You can really compare him to the Joker, I guess, kind of, you know, in a very, like, very vague way. You can compare him to the Joker, you understand him, and you feel bad for him, but at the same time, you can't excuse what he's actually doing, because that's, like, very inhumane and kind of fucked up and fuckity fuck, you know? Here's a comparison between him and other prime assets. Coyle versus Mother Gooseberry. Coyle is very ordered, very, you know, very like, hey, you know, do this and do that, and everything needs to be perfect, and they need to hurt because they're bad people. And then Mother Gooseberry is just like, yo, I'm very chaotic and I'm psychopathic, and I'm actually gonna do everything on impulse because I am a fucking psycho, and I've been kids in my earlier years because I was a dentist, and I guess Coyle is more similar to Franco, if anything, because I think it both comes out of a place of insecurity, but Franco is insecure, but Franco also kind of needs validation in other ways because, you know, he has like weird kinks and everything, but we'll go over that in another video. In all the prime assets, Leland Coyle fits the bill of being the father in the whole ecosystem of the prime assets. Mother Gooseberry is like the mother, Franco is the baby, Aurora and Otto are like the uncles, and then the new one, Bogomolova, might be the sister, I guess. I'm not really sure where she goes. I don't think she's the grandma because she looks plumpy, you know what I'm saying? When Coyle chases you, you feel judged. You feel judged. You don't feel chased. You just feel judged. That guy just goes into your inner
pistachio,
inner parts of your head and like messes with you, because the things he's saying, it's like yeah. Coyle sees himself as an object, not a person per se. The hammer, like having to, you know, just sentence everyone by his own merits, of course, like by his own standards. He feels the need to actually sentence people and hurt them. He's trying to condition the people in the trial to obey to everyone that is in some kind of hierarchy of power. Everyone in a uniform, basically. He sees himself as the jury, the judge, and the executioner, because what he says is final and it's correct. And everyone that doesn't agree with it deserves to die. Again, that circles back to him being insecure and wanting validation in extreme ways. Coyle appears most often, well, first of all, with his hand full of pistachios. He appears most often, funnily enough, where he doesn't want you to be. Like, most objectives, to be fair, where you need to get keys and put them somewhere, he'll be right there just stalking the halls. You can't do nothing about it. You can bait him away, but eventually he'll come back and like find you and like stare at you. Like I said at the start of the game, he'll be like, He's trying to protect something. He's trying to like get his grasp on something, have control of at least something, you know? I find it quite interesting as well, because he patrols areas, not like other prime assets in the game. He's more like the way the prison is also formed, or not the police station and the courtroom are like formed. It's like the police station will have like very long hallways, and the courtroom as well. They will have like the courthouse, sorry, they will have like very long hallways with like big windows on the side where you can actually look into all the multiple like smaller rooms next to the hallways, and he will patrol these long hallways as like, again, like a form of authority. He wants you to look up to him and be scared. He's not like trying to be with you guys in like the little rooms and everything. He wants to peer through the windows and punish you if he sees you. Really scary stuff. Kind of like when you're in prison, you're scared because you can smoke a little joint inside of your prison cell, and then you'll see like a guard crossing, and you're like, oh shit, wait, let me just flick the fucking thing inside of the toilet. That is a very extreme example, but I could have used a needle in your veins, so hey, be glad I didn't use that one. Every single map you're in with him, you're kind of always looking over your shoulder, because you know he's bound to be around there somewhere. You just don't know what. You just don't know where. Here's the next chapter of the video. What Coyle represents in the bigger scale of things. He represents Murkoff's view on society, where they want to control people and implant ideas into their heads, and they feel like Coyle is the perfect example of that, because he, again, reinforces all his ideas in a very violent way until you get it, until you understand it. You filthy mongrel, you understand that? You need to understand what Coyle, you need to understand what Coyle wants you to understand, you feel me? And everything else is wrong. Everything else is wrong. And Murkoff has the exact same ideologies, which I think is why Murkoff and Coyle fit inside of each other really well. Not in a sexual way, but more like a glove and a hand, you know, like, you know, it's like brother and sister, like, hello, how's it going, sister? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that was weird after making comments about stuff. Coyle is also living proof that Murkoff understands human weaknesses on both sides of the spectrum. Because Coyle is also quite literally being used for who he is. Just like the reagents, just like you. You're both charismatic. The only thing is that Coyle is a prime asset. He's the one delivering the bad things, because he's already... He's not ready to forget his past. He already has like a very like pretty extensive list of fucked up things in his head. But the reagent, on the other hand, is a blank slate, and he's ready to get like conditioned into Coyle's twisted mind. So is Coyle actually a victim? That fester inside of your head, is he a victim? Do you think he is a victim? I think that's a very interesting question, because there's no real good answer on that. In a way, he is a victim because he got really wronged. He grew up in a very harsh period, and he got, you know, obviously bad things happened to him when he was a kid. But at the other end of the spectrum, he's not actually a victim, because while still being a victim, he kind of punished everyone else for him being a victim without him like completely understanding the ramifications of his actions. So while there's some sympathy there, the sympathy ends when you see how he truly is inside of the trials. And I think that's a really interesting you know, portrayal of him as a character. I think it's not as black and white as like most other things in gaming. It's pretty interesting. I like it. Very small details about Coyle is how some of his voice lines, just like the training reel film where he's very insecure and everything like that, I feel like there's tiny moments in his voice lines that actually humanize him, that actually tells the players that he's not just a senseless monster, but he actually starts to understand that he's also being used with these voice lines right here that I'm gonna let you listen to. So enjoy.
I used to stand in a storm and watch the lightning strike the plains, and I would think, well, there you go. That's justice. Sometimes the finger of God reaches down and touches you, but you never know which finger it is you're gonna get.
And in my personal opinion, I think that Leland Coyle, at least on a psychological level, is probably the best character that Red Barrels has ever made for any of their games. In my opinion, like, I'll just be honest. It's just my opinion. And the fact that he loves pistachios. I love salted pistachios. I actually love them. Can you see that? That's like bad green screening, and that kind of annoys me, so I'll stand in front of it for now. Fits the bill for the modern horror themes. He's very psychological. You don't know if he's good or if he's bad. It's like a very blurred line, actually, that makes him really fucking interesting as a character. He's relevant beyond the game because he actually sends a message. It's like evil side and like not so evil side, and him actually understanding and coming to terms that he's actually an asshole, and he actually lingers on our minds, everyone that plays him. If you actually go deeper than surface level and listen to what he's actually saying during the trials and read the comics and everything like that, you actually understand more than just, you know, him bad guy, wow. And I think that is very well done by Red Barrels, and I have to applaud them for that. You better stand up and clap right now. So there you go, that was Leland Coyle. He is a crazy guy, but is he a victim? Not really, but kinda at the same time. And I think that is about it. I think that will conclude the video of today. Please leave me a like, leave me a sub if you enjoyed it. This one I tried to crack less jokes as I usually do, but I hope you still enjoyed it nonetheless. I hope after this video you're able to reflect and sit in silence for like 2 minutes and really think about, you know, what makes it work, and, you know, maybe put your 2 grains of salt in the comment section and let me know what you think about the character and the whole series in general. I'm excited to know more about more characters inside of the game and overanalyze them, and I can't wait to see you in the next videos. Alright, have a good one. Bye, I love you. Please follow my Twitch. I'll game literally every day, every single day. I game Outlast Trials, and if you want to see that, then hey, give me a little smooch on the follow button. That was really weird. I'm sorry. Anyways, goodbye.